Hello, we're live. Hello, everyone. It's Wednesday. It's time to give yourself a little midweek break and do a little bit of origami. These are offered very much as part of my work at UCH Hospital in London, and encouraging both staff and patients to make time to get creative. And these videos are there for them, but it's for everybody as well. And hopefully origami is a really good practical way. Hello Eric, hello Stephen. A really good practical way of encouraging yourself to focus on something else. I think making something very beautiful in your hands just gives the mind that lovely rest that it needs, and the sheer wonderful discovery that you can make with paper, which will definitely lift your mood. Hello, everybody, and Jess as well. And Penny, hello, Penny. Yes, Barbara. Wow, thinking of you in Santa Barbara. Is that right? Santa Barbara? Barbara in Santa Barbara. Adrian, fantastic. The crew, the real group, isn't it? And we've been there through what feels like such a long period of time. It's always hard now to remember Deborah. Hard to remember life before, isn't it? There are definitely aspects I'm missing, and then at least some aspects you have to kind of go, isn't it great that we're not zipping around all the time as well? So, oh, thank you, Lizzie. Army time. That's very sweet. Thank you. So actually, this is bringing along Froebel again this week. Last week, goodness, I brought along the extremely taxing, extremely difficult Froebel stars, which I wonder how you got on. I think I definitely found it difficult to explain which way the little tuck of that sort of almost ribbon of paper goes. It's definitely a tricky thing to do. I can see why people have cameras overhead over their hands, because I was attempting to show it into the camera while looking at my hands while looking at the screen. It really confuses your brain if it's at all tricky. Whereas anything simple, I'm fine about it, but otherwise it can get got into a little bit of a twist. But it's all part of the journey, isn't it? I'm not super polished, and I think that's a good thing. That's keeping it real. Not alone. Hello. Oh, so welcome everybody. So yes, another Froebel fold. Sounds good, doesn't it? Yes. Yeah, I don't blame you, Jess. It is tricky. It's taken me years, to be frank, to build up the courage to do that. That's something I've been doing actually over Christmas, and this was something else that I was doing as well. Intrigued. So Friedrich Froebel, born 1780 something. I can't remember the date offhand, but quite a while ago in what became Germany, and fascinating career, I have to say. Started in forestry and was obviously into maths, and then he worked in a museum for a little bit looking after crystals. How cool. And then hello Paula as well. And then he became very interested in education, and particularly focusing on young children. And he coined the phrase kindergarten. I mean, we can't imagine the world before kindergarten. It seems so obvious, and it's such a lovely phrase. Children's garden, flourishing like plants. It feels like a nice link with forestry. And he really encouraged play and activities and that interaction. I mean, clearly that is how we learn, but I guess it took somebody to realize that. And he made something called Froebel gifts, which is really beautiful idea of making little gifts for different ages, and starting with little soft balls for little tiny ones, and then going on to bricks. And again, we think of this as very much kindergarten, and sort of rope through different wooden blocks as well, and how you can build. Later on, going on to paper folding. I have to say this would be pretty hard for a kid. These ones just about doable, but certainly the Froebel star. But it probably that wasn't necessarily invented by him, but his name was there. But from what I understand, the Froebel squares is just such a beautiful thing to do. So it's a little bit like a little while back. I don't know if you were joining me then, but I sort of found myself getting very creative. I guess this is about a year ago, actually, inspired by the coronavirus spike protein, which is a perfect equilateral triangle. And of course, variation with these variants is all about changes in folds with this beautiful equilateral triangle. So I was experimenting, taking an equilateral triangle, which is nice to make and fold from, and just see what different patterns would emerge and just calling those variants. So I found that a very interesting creative exercise. That to me really unlocked being inventive and not being afraid to try something new, because you can get into a bit of a mindset with origami of following very precisely, but not necessarily trying yourself. Obviously, you don't have to try yourself, but it is really fun because you can make discoveries, and that sort of lifts your confidence in different ways as well. And it's almost, I think it's more discovery, something like this, because others will find it, and it's like science that many different people could find the same things because it's about how things are made and how things work. It's physics, it's engineering. So this is a really, really lovely one. Apparently, also would have influenced. It's interesting, obviously, because the origin's not in Japan, but I think also had, from what I understand, an influence there back again. So using paper folding. So this really requires paper that's got two colours. So colour on one side, white on the other. I think I'll just show you with colouring in. This, I've got some really nice little coloured pieces of paper so you can get these lovely patterns. So you do need really different colours to be able to show the patterns. And you can apparently find hundreds of patterns from this very simple, what's called a windmill base, which you'll see will easily fold one. You may well have folded these shapes before. And then the idea is just to play. Now, I encourage people to vote for ones they would like me to demonstrate. So there's 25 here. I was going to do 4, but actually that felt a bit rushed. Let's just do 2, and I'll do another 2 another time. So this one was the most popular. And then there were quite a few which were the second most popular. And I'm going to include this, which is the chrysanthemum, really, which is a traditional piece of Japanese origami, but again, could have been found by many different places. Excellent. Oh, fantastic. That's wonderful to hear, Paula. Excellent. That beautiful rainbow snake. And actually, yeah, the origins of that again are a bit unclear. So it's been passed on through love and through care and through fun. So this is all about encouraging your playfulness. And I'll show you 2. But then I thoroughly recommend you just having a play and just seeing how many different shapes you can find. You'll just get into a little rhythm of, oh, I wonder what happens if I do that. And it's just repeating the same thing on the 4 sides. Sorry, I've chatted a lot more today, haven't I? So grab yourself some paper. I've just got half an A4, and I think I'll make 2 squares from that. So I'm going to make 2 squares because we're going to make this one and this one. So we're going to make 2 squares, and then I'm going to colour one side. If you have origami paper or wrapping paper or paper that's different on the different sides, you need that to reveal the patterns. Otherwise, you can't really see it. So this is one to add some colour. Right, but it's nice and calming after last week's one, which was a bit tough on the brain. This is just nice and simple. So enjoy it being simple. So I'm going to simply start with an A5 piece of paper. How did you get on with the Froebel star? Did anybody succeed? Did anybody just find themselves going, oh, this is too much? I completely understand. If you did, I'm just simply halving my piece of paper. Again, I'm being very nice and exact. I'm just using tearing. It's a nice way to go. Again, I'm going to take that corner, bring it down, line it up there through the corner, good strong fold. And now I'm going to get rid of that rectangle. So I'm going to bring this back, fold it down. There we go. And then get rid of that. Oh, that's fine, Eric. Yes, I completely understand. It's a bit much. It is a bit much, that one. It's very satisfying though when you do manage to do it. Fun trying. Well done. It's all about trying. The corner. It really is the main thing. Yeah. I don't know whether I added. I maybe ought to add to the bottom of the text below the Froebel square where I learnt it from. But have a look round online. You'll see others who've managed to film over their hands, which will be a bit clearer. And then the video I found, I just slowed it down, could pause it, could go back. Oh, birthday city here. Oh, fantastic, Adrian. Yeah, it's not a quick thing to do, a Froebel star. It's quite extraordinary though. And as you saw, I managed to find that you could do some interesting shapes. Right, I'm going to open it up. I'm going to put it so it's more like that mountain position. Reminds me of a little ray there. Wow. Oh, well done, Deborah. You used your persistence. Yeah, it's not easy. Oh, it is your actual birthday. Yay! Adrian, happy birthday. Thanks for sharing that, Eric. Right. I'm going to just simply colour one side because otherwise you won't see patterns. So if you have paper with white on one side, colours on the other, that's the usual origami paper really, or wrapping paper, that would be the best way to do it. But if you haven't got any of those, then you can just colour in on one side, which is what I'm doing. So I'll share some other folds another time. I'd love to see what you create and fold as well. This Froebel squares, what you discover. There'll be many things you can discover. I might at some point set myself a challenge of discovering another 25, but I was quite happy with that. I found actually to display them, they tend to, any of these folds will stick up quite a bit. Can you see it's quite 3D, which has its beauty, but actually when it's, use a tiny bit of Pritt stick or glue to flatten it more, then you'll see the shapes more, which to be honest, I would recommend. That's what I ended up doing for this, because otherwise it will be sticking out too much. You can see some of them are a little bit sticking out. It's nice a little bit, but if they're all doing that, you'll find it, you can't really appreciate the patterns. Everybody else, oh, well, happy birthday to everybody else. You're getting lots of happy birthdays now. That's nice, isn't it? There we go. So all I'm doing is adding some colour. How about you? Have you got 2 pieces to be able to make 2 Froebel squares? So we're going to make something called the Windmill Base, which I know lots of you do origami, so you'll be familiar with. But these sessions are always for people who've never tried it before. And I still feel like I'm just trying it myself for the first time. So it's the way to be. It's all about the discovery. So I've got my coloured side. I'm going to turn it over to the white side. I've already got a diagonal line. If you haven't got a diagonal line, then make it. And then if you open it up and do the other diagonal line, that will be useful. There we go. Good strong folds, be nice and exact, and things will work well. So we're just going to be working on the one side, really. Quite often we're turning from one side to another, but here we're just sticking to the one side. So we've got our square, and we're going to simply fold it in half to make a rectangle. There we go. So just that middle line and opening it up. Now there's many ways just to do this simple fold that we're making. Wow, gosh. Oh, big birthdays in your household. Yes. Good afternoon, Katie. Thank you for joining us. We're making Froebel squares, these kind of things. So I'm going to be showing you just how to make 2 of them and then encouraging you to experiment. So I've just made a square and I coloured on one side. I did the diagonals and then I folded it in half to make a rectangle and then I opened it up. Now my next step is to take the outside and bring it to the middle line. Oh, thank you, Eric, for welcoming. I just feel like you're the person greeting people at the door somehow. That's it, making people feel welcome. Thank you very much. It's very appreciated. So it's the outside and brought to the middle. And then as well, the bottom brought to the middle. So it's ending up like cupboards. And if I turn it vertically, it'll look more like a cupboard. So I'm going to turn it vertically like a cupboard so you could open it up. Right, happy? Hope that's making sense. Next, we're going to fold it in half. So I'm going to take the bottom and fold it up to the top. So I'm just halving it, that's all. Oh, this is such a relief after the Froebel square, which is such hard work. That's it. Opening it up again. And I'm going to take the bottom and bring that to the middle. So it's almost like another cupboard again. Excellent. Yeah, good. I'm glad, Paula. yes, my thanks to Eric, who feels like he is the helping hand, and I don't know how you manage to multitask so much. So it's the bottom to the middle, and then the top to the middle line as well. So again, it's like a cupboard, but this time it's making a little square. So we've got it looking like this. Happy? I try to go slowly. We'll be doing a second one as well, so hopefully you'll get the hang of it. All right, I'm going to turn it sideways again. So it's like the cupboard. And I'm going to open just one side of my cupboard. And I'm going to take this edge and I'm going to bring it up to the top. So doesn't it feel like it? I think it's easier on the surface. So I'm going to take the edge and I'm going to bring it over there. So you sort of have to swing it round. Do you see? I'm lining it up there. Be nice and exact. And then squashing it there. So we're giving that diagonal line. So it was closed like this. And I opened it up. And I'm taking that middle bit and I'm lining up vertically, which gives it a diagonal fold. And the same as well with the other end. So I'm going to take this, line it up there, giving it just that little fold there. And then you should be able to just push it down. And look, it's looking like a little house now. Another fold it could be. That's it. You may well be very familiar with this, but this is also the joy of origami. These familiar things are well loved as well. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I guess I'm keeping it the same way around. So I'm opening up this side like so. And again, I'm going to take this line, this middle line, and I'm going to bring it to the vertical, and it adds a diagonal fold there. So bringing this, I'm finding this so much easier on my head than last week's. That was so hard. Again, this bottom line, bring it up vertically. I think it's when you're folding pieces that are very spatial, can be particularly tricky. And again, I can push that in and it comes together as this lovely shape. And now if you take each of these points and just push it along that diagonal line that you'd made earlier, you can see it's becoming the windmill, because if you do the opposite one, it becomes this lovely windmill shape. But I recommend that you, for each of these diagonals, you do it one way and then back the other, just so it's already nicely done. That's it. So all I'm doing is just bending back along those diagonal lines. Oh, there's so many things you can do with it. That's also a bit like a butterfly too. So many things. It's being playful, I think, with imagining what it could become. And it's a very playful fold, this. So see what's looking like this. You've got these pointy up bits, and now all I want you to do is pop your finger in and squash it down. So taking one of these flaps sticking up, pop your finger in and squash it down, and it becomes a little square. That's it. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Makes us feel like we're around a table. I absolutely think of that. Again, each of these, we're all got a little piece of paper on our lap. We're all just taking a little concentration out of our day, maybe with a cup of tea to one side. And it's amazing how much you can communicate and feel a sense of community, just little messages. It's so nice. There we go. So I think it looks like I'll stick to the same as kind of colour. I think we're going to make this one. So this was the most popular fold that people had voted for, and I will show you how to do this one. That's it. So there we go. So is yours all looking like this? Colour on this side. So our next step is to take the inside corner and fold it up to the outside. So at the moment this is all coloured, and I'm folding it up to the very outside point. I have actually, interestingly, Jess, you were saying that you've been drawing lots, and I have been too. I've not actually been doing so much origami, so for me as well. This is a nice change to get back to folding. Good to do a whole mixture of things. Oh, excellent. That inside corner to the outside. Again, this could become so many things. It could become like a little flower. Don't you think it's looking like a flower? Yeah. And then inside to the out. So this is playing with how you reveal the colour and how much you reveal the white. It's like a little kaleidoscope once you get going. Yay. Thank you. Yes, exactly, Kate. It's very pleasing. So this is where we're going to start. And to reveal some of the colour, I want you to sort of almost turn a little page and you're onto a coloured side. And I'm going to take this point and bring it back in the middle there. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it back, and I guess trying to keep it fairly equal. Might have to see what I'm doing. So, and then when you fold it open, look, we've revealed a little area of colour. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm turning the little leaf. I'm going to take this point and bring it back here. Again, trying to keep it a little bit balanced. Like so. Again, I might need to see what I'm doing. All these things are nice and intricate. And the more accurate you are, the better. And then turning the page, and you can see it's revealing the background colour there. Now to actually finish it, we're going to do this on each side, but just taking that tip and just folding it down like that. And that is all you're doing to make your pattern. Yeah. And as I said, if you're making lots of them, to be honest, I do recommend that you use a tiny bit of Pritt stick just to keep everything flattened down, and that way you'll really appreciate the shapes. Otherwise, you'll just appreciate there's more sticky up things. It's up to you. Again, turning the page and then folding inwards. So it was starting with the Windmill Base, where we saw you had those pockets that we fold down into squares, and then you start playing around with many possibilities. Turning that page, and yeah, as I said, lots of people have made these discoveries, and that's part of the joy of it. There we go. Mine's looking a bit wobbly there. I think I need to straighten that up. Be nice and accurate if you can. It will help. There we go. And again, when you open it up, you've tucked away those areas, and you can take the top and fold it down. And actually, even just seeing images from others, you go, oh, I wonder how they did that, and it'll give you ideas. Again, turning the page to get to the coloured side, and then taking that corner and bringing it to the middle line. Like so, and then opening up, and you're revealing. Let's do the same there. And I'm just showing you two this week, but we can do some more another time. But have a go at seeing what you can discover yourself. Great fun to see what happens. Again, final side. Turning that, the coloured side. Taking that, pushing it in. Turning the page. How are yours going? Again, you may think, oh, I want to fold it from a different direction. So if instead I decided I'm going to fold it from, for example, the top there. So instead I folded it that way. How does that affect the pattern? And you produce a different shape again. So it's just this being willing to play around and see how it affects the patterns. See how many you can create. It's great fun. And it does look really striking if you stick them together. All right, I'm definitely feeling like I need to see what I'm doing for this one. Opening that up, and again, taking that top bit and folding it down. So that's our first one. Oh, your spins. Ooh, Barbara, that's nice. Oh, oh, yeah, yeah. This does have great spinning. What a lovely idea. It is a beautiful structure, isn't it? That's our first one. Your spins too. Be playful. It's all about play, this one. So we've done one. Let's do a second one. Oh, no, it doesn't matter. There is no mistake, Deborah. You're finding new Froebel squares. That's the idea. Oh, fantastic, Barbara. So can you set that as a creative challenge? Ooh, yeah, I think springy paper. There's some origami paper which is it opens up too much. So actually, I rather enjoy copy paper because it can have a good. You can really fold it well. Springy could be great if you make it something like a frog, but. So we'll make a second one and yeah, think about how you can start to vary things and what you might discover. So we're going to do the second one, which is this one, which is a chrysanthemum. It's a nice little flower in the middle. And we've done things like this before, but it's part of the Froebel squares. So I've coloured on one side, turning it over. We've got a diagonal line and I'm going to do the other one. Yeah, that's true, Eric, you could. But I find they do ping up quite a lot. So I personally have no issue with, with glue if it's useful. We don't have to be puritanical about it, I think. Yeah. They're not in Japan, so I take Japan as the originator of to some extent, of origami. So we've done both diagonals. Again, fold it in half. So this is how they all start. Although there's many different ways just to fold this little structure. And then take the outside to the middle. We're making like a little cupboard. Like so. And then the outside to the middle. Like so. So I'm going to turn it on its side so it really is like a little cupboard. And then I'm going to halve this. How are you getting on? This is definitely more relaxing than last week's, isn't it? Yeah. But it's good to give ourselves challenges, then we appreciate something like this as well. So I folded it in half. And then I'm going to take the bottom to the middle. Again, making it like a little square. Oh, yes, that's true, Eric. That's interesting. Or quite often paper can be used in ceremonies. Could be interesting as well. Top to the middle. And kind of Buddhism of paper is used in many ways. I remember seeing it in Malaysia, these extraordinary commissions for sort of paper sculptures representing, it's almost a little bit like the ancient Egyptians, making representations of things in this world that you want to bring with you to the next world. So these amazing, quite extravagant things, maybe of houses or, I don't know, a car, something you might like in your afterlife. And you can buy this, and I think it can be burnt, I think. But I don't know if anybody knows more about that. Quite fascinating. Yes, it's the Chinese New Year. Always used to go to a lovely event in Oxford. There's a Chinese community in the town hall. It's just fantastic as a whole. Obviously, a lovely big lunch. Help yourself with different Chinese foods and drinks, and then lots of whole afternoon of performances. Actually, something I was really struck by, and apparently this is within kind of Chinese culture as well, is female magicians. And you don't see many female magicians here, actually. Of course they exist, but it tends to be culturally, has been a lot of male magicians, but not in China. So there's, I remember, Chinese magician. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's true. That's a good point, Stephen. It does make it more challenging if you try not to. Yeah. If there's a way, and that can often encourage creativity. But if you feel actually do you want to, then that's up to you. But it won't be quite as clever, I guess, as finding a way to get around it if you can with folds. But yeah, you could press these down very well. But as I said, I found in the end that they were springing up a bit too much, so I preferred just a tiny bit, using a tiny bit of Pritt stick. I don't have to apologise, do I? But it looks tidier for it, actually. You could obviously put it underneath something as well, but I quite like having the paper out. So no, it's very interesting. It's true. So I'm going to turn it to the side, and again, it's like a little cupboard. And if you open one side, again, it's the same thing. You're going to do that little diagonal line. So you do that by taking that middle and bring it up vertically. And we'll get back in a moment to that square with the squares inside, and that's the base that you start with for any of these Froebel squares. Then you experiment from there. So here to that line. Yeah. There we go. I think it's, yeah, origami encourages that sort of puzzling mind, doesn't it? How can you do something? And in a way, it's because it's tricky. That's what makes it interesting too. It's a good challenge for the mind. And again, you can push it down. Looks like a little house. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Opening up this side of the cupboard. And again, this side, bring it up to the top. Again, and then pressing it down along that diagonal. Same thing with the bottom. That's it. Yes, exactly. I think if we have debates and heated discussions about glue, isn't that a wonderful thing? It's a funny one. It's also about being a bit playful too, isn't it? Yeah, I really like that point, Stephen. It's quite funny, really, isn't it? And if it's making people laugh, it's a good thing. So pushing that in, yeah, we're not being Puritan in anything but a playful manner. And I'm sure we'd be respectful. So there we go. So again, take each of these points and just fold them back along the diagonal lines. Again, folding those diagonals. So these points can move around a bit, like the windmill. And then again, holding it. And then same thing. That's it. So again, these pockets, bring it down, squash it down. Now, if you're going to have a go at making your own, finding your own Froebel squares, I thoroughly recommend giving you this as a fun little challenge. And it is just delightful. At some point, I'll encourage myself to do another 25, but that feels a little bit, it's quite a lot, but I really enjoyed it. And just seeing what on the edges, you'll really find yourself getting into it. So this is the point that you can then play with and see by what you fold. And I'm going to show you the chrysanthemum, which is something quite familiar actually in origami, but it's so nice, isn't it? And of course, the chrysanthemums are seen as a royal flower in Japan, so it seems very special. So I'm going to take, just checking that's all lined up. It's not particularly lined up. Harder in the camera. No excuses. So here we go. So to make the flower-like one, we're going to take this little bit and fold it to the diagonal. Like so. There we go. And the same with this side, that side, and bring it to the diagonal. So it starts to look a bit like a little kite shape. I mean, this could almost be a shape in itself. You could play with then what happens if you fold it from there. There we go. Same with the next one. Oh, wow. It's the root of a plant. Wow. That's interesting. You tend to think of glue as more, maybe even animal based. I don't know. Don't know what traditional glues would be. But egg white's quite a good binder of things too. Of course, sort of before oil paintings, it was the tempera, and that would be mixing with egg whites, and they've lasted for hundreds and hundreds of years, binding the paint together. Again, that line to the vertical line. There's probably many ways to stick things. There we go. It's already lovely, isn't it? Really lovely. Again, taking that bottom of the square, bringing it to the diagonal. if you happen to be on social media, Eric, I know you're not, and that's absolutely cool. But if you do on Twitter, I'm at Dr. Lizzie Burns, or Facebook, origami to beat boredom. Was that it? I forget his name. Join the fold, origami to beat boredom. Then sharing pictures there as well, a little group. Sort of on Instagram, but a bit begrudgingly. There's only so many bits of social media. Honestly, you could not quite say waste your time, but you could spend too much time on that and not doing other things like origami. So that line to the diagonal, I think it's quite healthy to choose to only do a certain number if you are to. I primarily do it for my work, but ultimately it's a way of communicating, and actually we all need to feel connected, don't we? And we've not been able to do that in person in the same way, so it's quite invaluable. Lovely. Hey. Oh, Wendy, hello. Oh, welcome, Wendy. Sorry, I know you've been here all along, but thank you for saying hello this way. Not being able to join in. Right, our next step is to open up these little pockets, and your flower will appear. So can you see that's a little pocket? Pop your finger in and then squash it down in the middle. To see what I'm doing. Definitely noticing my eyesight is not quite as good as it was. Not surprising. Been fascinated how, of course, origami is all about patterns and feel, and actually a lot of this is all about feel. So don't think it is just eyesight. You can feel these shapes, where things match up. And again, taking that, squashing it down in the middle. Like so. Try and match up those lines. So matching up that bit with that bit. And you'll find a nice little circular flower opens. I think, is this seen as a traditional coaster as well? I thought I wouldn't want to put a mug on this. It would make it wet for a glass, but it's certainly a beautiful little decoration. So doing this for each little pocket. And obviously when it's smaller still, it gets trickier to do, but there's something very pleasing about this pattern. So I thought just 2 of these rather than 4, or we'll just feel like we're in some kind of race. We can do another 2 another time if I run out of things to do. There's always very poor squares. See what you can find. It's really fun just letting yourself see what discoveries you can make. There we go. Just got one more pocket. And it's reminding me a bit of sunshine as well, this one, and these colours. Yeah, it is so pretty. I'll laminate it. That's a good idea. Yeah. Oh, that's a really good idea, Eric. Yeah. And I guess it'd be quite stiff because there's quite a few layers there, aren't they? Oh, that's a good idea, Jess. Yes. So I hope your 2 have worked. And what about experimenting? Can you? Yeah. Oh, if you use tiny. Yeah, but it does look nice. That's what I use, quite small papers for these, because I figured if I'm doing lots, then small is good. So I wonder if you can start figuring out how I've made some of these. I wonder if you can have a go as well, and just experiment. See what little bits you can open, and what, as long as you're doing it the same on each of the 4 sides, then it'll look great. Oh, yes. Excellent success, Barbara. Yeah, I hope you get on well with your class. See how inventive they can be. It's almost, because so much of school can be about following things, so actually encouraging people not to follow things but make up their own thing, it's quite a good challenge. Yes, that's a good idea, Wendy. Definitely, because the Dharmas, I've made some nice balls. Again, actually, I've tended to stick with that one, but you can make some really nice things there. You could fold those corners in and then attach to the next one. Yeah. So wishing you all a very good week, and I'll be back next week. The last week of February. I will be away, it'll be half term, so I will give myself some annual leave then. So there'll be just that 1 week's gap, but I'll give you plenty of warning. But we've got quite a few weeks before then. Very soon we'll start to think about love. It's coming up to Valentine's Day, and I think of some friends here from China who very much saw Valentine's Day as not about romantic love, but about love generally, about love for your family and for your friends. I just thought that was really nice, actually. I think the romantic side will make most people miserable because very few people are in that wonderful position. But we all have people who we love and care for, family and friends, pets, or hopefully ourselves too. So self-care as well. So I will be sharing some nice hearts and things in the run up to Valentine's. So wishing you all a good week. Take care. See what you can find yourselves. I hope you can get creative. You're very welcome. Take care. Bye bye, everyone. Bye bye.